Well, let me start by thanking you, man, for coming out, giving me some of your time. We know how valuable time could be, right?
Time's not valuable.
But I like to call this Life Beyond the Lens because I think about a movie called The Shift, and in the movie The Shift is by Wayne Dyer, right?
Okay.
There's a guy who owns a resort on a beachfront property in Hawaii. He owns a resort, but he rolls around as the janitor. So a lot of people dismiss him as the janitor. So from that perspective, he gets to see how people treat him honestly.
Yeah.
You know, versus if they said, hey, I own this resort, they're like, oh, yeah, love you, how can we do this? Try to be his
fake.
best.
They'd be fake.
They'll be his best friend, you know what I mean? So in our world, a lot of people look at us as the cameraman, and they give us cameraman in some regards, not in all spaces. In some spaces, they give us cameraman either respect in some cases, and in other spaces, disrespect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad that you're the first person to do this with me. Because
Where you going?
no, I'm so glad you're the first person to do this with me, because sometimes you need people in your life, instead of just nodding your head and saying, oh, yeah. You've always told me, no, man. No, that's not it. Don't do that. You know what I mean? And based on your journey, you've always told me and given me a certain level of respect that you should be in different spaces. You know what I mean? So thank you for coming on the show.
100%, man.
And once again, this is Tyrone Eaton of the Eaton Creative Group. And I would like to just start from the beginning, man. Like, when did you know that a camera in your hand made you comfortable?
Oof. I mean, I do remember it, actually. I was working at Radio 1, and I hated I did accounting. I hated my job. I hated it. I made money, but hated it. And I got into real estate, and I started doing my own real estate photography. And I bought this small Olympus camera.
I can picture that.
It was when I'm taking pictures of my real estate properties, and I was like, wait a minute. So the better pictures I take, the higher I can sell this house for. I was like, so imagery, money, imagery, value, imagery, market needs this. Somebody's gonna find value in something I create with this camera that can, put food on the table for my family. And I was like, well, I'd rather do this than go sit in an office for 9 to 5 every single day, and be happy. And I quit my job.
I know, which was probably scary, right?
My wife was she was 7 months pregnant with our second kid, and I came home and was like, yeah, I want to quit my job. Yeah, she was like, are you crazy? And I was like, well,
And you gotta say to take pictures.
Oh yeah. I was like, she was like, are you crazy? I was like, look, if I need to get 3 jobs to pull this off, I will. I was like, I just think everybody owes himself at least one shot at something that would make them happy in life.
Wow.
And this is my shot.
A very similar situation with me, right? I worked at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I went from customer service to provider services, which is hospitals, servicing hospitals, to sales. And right when I went into small group business sales, Obama got elected president, right? And I basically spent my days canceling policies because Obamacare was getting ready to roll in.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I said, look, when I go to work, I feel like I'm dying in my cubicle. Like the level of stagnant energy, and just because I came from doing music with my friends. So that's a level of creativity that's, and I know to this day, me doing music is a direct correlation with how comfortable I am with a camera, because I built up a lot of creative energy. So that transferred. Yeah.
We have a very similar past. Music was my thing when I was in college. I went to college for accounting, and
Darwin told me.
Bought an MPC. Funny thing is, I broke an MPC, sold an MPC, and last week I bought another MPC.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I can't let it. I love banging on the pads. That was where I started.
So at heart, which is something that's not really celebrated in our society, is creativity is an actual skill set.
Yeah.
being able to deduce, have intuition, follow that intuition, and make that a story, something that people love and connect with. To this day, I don't know if you remember, but to this day, you gave me a gem, and it's something I was doing instinctually, but you gave me a gem with some work that you did for a window company. And to this day, I still remember that story because when you went to this window company, they wanted to do a commercial about their factories and how the windows were made and the elements that they used to make the windows. And you told them, hey, man, and I love that you said that, right? You got to be on your hat for bravery because this brave man right there told them that's not going to sell your windows. And you told a story about a woman who got some windows all around her house except for, I believe it was like a basement window, and she kept the original window, and because the original window was a weak installation, she had a burglary. And she said they tried every window, and the one that didn't work was the one that she decided not to change.
Yeah.
And I always remember that story, how important like us coming in, telling stories that stick. And that was, you told me that story, I want to say 7 years ago.
7 or 8 years ago. Yeah.
And I don't remember the name of the company, but I remember that story. Like, don't skimp on, the little stuff. Like, if you're gonna spend money, if they tried all the other windows and they couldn't get in, you know what I mean? That's the reason you should spend money with us.
Yeah.
So I hear that a lot in your journey. That you go in as a consultant. You're not and I say this in air quotes, cameraman. You're not a cameraman. We're not cameramen. We're our partners. We're creatives with the client. And you definitely speak to that.
Yeah, I think on the business side, I think it's the camera captures but the story that you create happens way before you ever pull up with the camera or lights. So if you're going to meet with a business and you want to help a business, you got to understand how to help the business. So you got to realize, like, one thing we do is we create stories for lots of companies. So you start to get a habit of what sticks, what doesn't work.
Right.
So when you meet with a company or a person like, hey, we want to do this thing, you're like, that's all you want to do? Like, if you did these tweaks or we did this thing, I could help your business more. Like I used to do event videos for a local promoter, and he wanted these like 5-minute highlight reels. And I would always say, like, I can make you more money with a 30-second video. Right. I can a 5-minute video of just showing people partying. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, like it's the story we tell in 30 seconds can grow your business in a way that you can't imagine. And I've always believed that because I got into the side on advertising. Like I was working at a radio station, which is a radio station is an advertising vehicle. That's what it is there for. It's designed to play music to attract people so that they can advertise on.
Right.
So in the world we are, our clients want to play content or videos that attract people so they can get business. So we all know why we're telling the story. It's just you got to tell the right stories that people want to pay attention to. Just like that the top 5 songs are going to play all day because they know people are going to listen to them. Right. So if you're going to play a video, you better play a video that people are going to watch. Because then if your advertising's tucked before it or after it, guess what? They win. Right.
And for some reason, I had a reoccurring thought in my head, like rich people buy art. Rich people buy art. They actually appreciate it. You know what I mean? And I think what we do is art. We come in with a certain understanding, like how broad the strokes should be. We should either be finite or we should be macro. And we're making those decisions all of the time. Like, am I going to use a lens that's going to show everything? Or am I going to show a lens that's going to show something particular? And a lot of times clients look at finished product, right? And because it rolls out in 30 seconds or a minute, they fail to realize that we do still have a lot of process in getting you to that finite, impactful, I should use the word impactful, 30-second, minute, 5 minutes, whatever the length of the video is. Yeah. And I don't know if it's just me, but and I've heard this, so I do a better job of explaining my value proposition, right? But a lot of times clients just think, oh, you just press record on the camera and voila.
Well, I mean, I think that's a struggle for everybody when you first start down that road. You have a camera, you love to shoot, you shoot. Everybody calls, you run and shoot. You're filming. And we kind of set ourselves up for it because we're constantly just, when somebody calls, we show up with the camera, we do what they ask. And that's how we get our experience. But at the same time, you should be developing your own storytelling techniques, your own storytelling process, so that when you come into a client, like if a client calls you, my thing is if somebody calls you and they already have the plan of what they want to do, guess what you're doing? You're doing what they want to do. Because it was their idea. It was they put in all the hard work. Whether we like it or not, they've put in a ton of work to get to this point. Now they share that script and the treatment with us, and we're like, I don't really like this, but it's irrelevant, right? Mm-hmm. You can say, hey, look, I want to help you out. What about this? What about that? But if we're like, no, this is what we want to do. That's what you're doing. I mean, the person who owns the project is the person who owns the idea. If That's you true. Come with the idea, like if you go to if say there's a new client you want to go after, right? Or anybody wants a business. If you go to that business and say, hey, I want to do videos for you, and they say, yes, you're going to do what they tell you to do because you went in and said, I want to do videos for you. So they're going to come up with the video ideas and you're going to do the videos for them.
Right.
But if you go to that business and you say, hey, look, I have a story about I have a story about your brand. What if we did this, this, and this and told a story like this? Wouldn't that be pretty? And they're like, oh, man, that's a really good idea. Mm-hmm. Can you do that for me? Yeah, I can do that for you. Now you're hired. You got hired because they wanted you to do what you just brought to their table for them. That's different than them having an idea and calling you and saying, can you do what I want you to do for me?
I'm going to go back to music with what you just said as far as the way that I get it, and I'm going to use the word, right? The way that I get clients excited. Oh, man. There we go.
My man, come sit over here, man.
And you can switch off to him, too, when he's talking.
Yeah, man. Right?
Right?
Man, come on. I don't know if I'm camera ready, but
man. What's up, man? We got special guests.
Oh,
we got special guests, right?
So this guy's, since I was a kid.
No.
This guy probably used to make fun of my beats, by the way, man.
Right. So it's something that this guy that I used to,
How you doing, guys?
How you doing? This guy named Ronald Ramsey that I used to do music with, right? Uh-huh. And he had a gift of excitement. And excitement is something that is infectious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I'm Darwin could attribute to this, right? When I'm on a job with a client, I do this with photography and I also do this with video. Mm-hmm. When a client gives you like their template idea, right? I think it's our job to find something that's exciting in that.
Yeah.
And I visibly get excited. I'm like, oh my, you got to see this shot. You got to check this out. And you pull them in because you're doing something positive for them, right?
Yeah.
So even though you might be following their golden rules or the guidelines, I still find a way to pull some art out of it. Because if I did it in a way that was flaccid and flat, then I'll be honest, my interest level as a collaborator dies. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I'm not really motivated to put this together for you.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you bought paint and brushes, and you don't paint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or in some cases, we've had clients who've bought cameras because they have a budget, but they don't shoot.
Yeah.
So because you own it doesn't necessarily mean you get to dominate in this situation. And I'm going to use a weird sports analogy. If I'm a better basketball player, but I come to your house and you own the ball and I beat your ass with your own ball, hey, I'm just a better basketball player. You know what I mean? And I maybe beating your ass is not what I mean, but you understand what I mean?
Yeah. If they might not call you back to come over and shoot hoops. Though.
Right, yeah.
You be like, man, they don't invite me over no more. I'm like, that's right,
and,
man.
You ain't had I had a recent situation where that was the case, and I find it odd where, because I've learned to use feelings and not use feelings in business. Right? Because, yes, you want to be excited. You want to be emotionally invested. But then sometimes clients will do something where they feel that you're outshining them. And I'm like, I'm not. Do you know, like, when I turn this over to you, it's yours, right? Like, I don't own this. I don't get to put a crown on the top of this. And even if I do, it doesn't move the needle for me because it's something that's designed to either sell your product, service, or ideas or make people aware of who you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah. So the only check that I get on that is, okay, I was behind the camera. But other than that, You know, like I was telling a person last night, when I watch a movie or you watch a movie, nobody stops and says, "Oh, I wonder who the DP was, or the cinematographer, or the editor, or the
Only
person."
shooters do.
Only people in our industry do, but other people, they don't care. They're not going to even look for it. They're going, "Oh, that was a nice picture, or that was a nice video."
They're looking at who the director is, and they're just going to confirm who that actor was because they forgot their name.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. How many times there's an actor that you love and you only know their character name?
Yeah.
Unless they've broken through the glass ceiling like a Denzel or, you know, I don't know, somebody else. You know what I mean? Like I like Denzel's son. I don't know his name. I just know he's a good actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
What's the time left on
I
that?
don't know, man.
14?
I don't know.
Good.
Yeah, but you said something earlier, and it was funny. Somebody gave me this piece of advice. You said, like, when some people see you as a shooter, that's all you are, as a cameraman. And especially for young guys, when you guys are coming up, you guys are going to have cameras, and everybody's going to gas your head up. You know why? Because people, like, when I got a camera, I started getting calls, "Oh, man, Ty, you got to tell this story. It's a great story." And I would go tell these great stories, right? They weren't great. They weren't even fascinating to me. I was doing it because they wanted me to do something that they was citing to them.
Right.
And I realized earlier, like, what you can go as you guys go out shooting, people are going, "Oh, yo, you the man, you the cameraman, you can shoot, you do this." And what you got to realize, you have to ask yourself this one question: do they love how little they get to? Do they really love your work, or they love how little they have to pay you to get you to do it?
Ding, 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 ding. That's a sound effect.
Because I remember when I'd be all over the place shooting like fashion stuff. I'd be over here to be, "Oh, Ty, we love you," and I'm like, "Yeah, they like me, and I'm all over the place." But my bank account just wasn't showing the love.
Yeah,
and not even at the
no,
bank.
say that without clapping.
And the bank account just wasn't showing the love. But it's not even about the bank account. The value, like, I never really, like, when I look back on it, they valued me having a camera capturing what they were passionate about. Like, that's their dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had a dream of doing this thing, and I was capturing their dream, and they loved it. That's what they're supposed to do. Like, if I'm living my dream, I love when people are around, but they were getting, I mean, I learned some stuff in the process, but it was their dream, right? And I realized, like, you know what? They're never going to see the value in giving, like, you know, paying me what I feel I should be paid to help them grow their business. And when somebody was like, "If you want to find out, charge them what you should be charging."
Yeah, I've had
find
that.
out real quick. Do you love my work, or do you love how little you get to pay me? Because when I change, hey, this is what I don't. You don't only go high. You just go a little bit higher than you currently were, but
Right.
you're still below everybody else in the market. And
Right.
you're like, "What? But I just raised my rate to $500 a day. Now you're gonna find somebody new?" Like, I thought I was your. I wasn't. I was the cheapest person you could get to do what you wanted me to do to highlight your dream.
Yeah, you know,
cool.
and
And there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
There's
and
nothing wrong with
I
it.
don't want to use a really dirty, you know, like example or analogy, but the analogy is, you know, what's the difference between Julia Roberts and somebody who works in the sex industry? Standards. She's going to get $20 million of film, and a person who's in the sex industry, they may look even better than her. But their standards was like, "I'm going to go do this for that."
Yeah.
You know, and I've been caught up in that, you know, because and to be and to piggyback on what you say, right? If you deal with affirmation issues, right, where you need your work affirmed, then you're gonna chase that.
Yeah.
You're gonna chase the love. You're gonna chase people saying, "Man, I love it. You're great. You're so and so. You know, we loved you. Thank you so much." And you know, you think you're being fed, right? And the dark side of that is when you no longer decide to accept those standards for yourself, then all of a sudden you're the bad guy. You're the person who changed up on them, you know?
Yeah.
Me and Darwin, we just shot Celebrity Chef in hashtags, right? But he said something that we both looked at each other from across the room, but he said that you can't be a chef forever. You know, he said, you know, 85 to 95% of the chefs, you know, they cook till they die. There's no retirement plan that they put in place for themselves. So he said the way to change that is to still use your skill set as a chef. Like if you've worked in big kitchens, then you have a consultant arm of your business. You know what I mean? You know how food cost works. You know, there's so much more information versus ingredients, heat, stove, serve.
Yeah.
And so many times as camera people, we get caught up in that, you know, show up, shoot, deliver. When there's a whole world of of expertise that you can teach, share, and come in without even picking up a camera, just advising, and ironically, get paid way more money.
I had a conversation with the guy just the other day, and we've worked together for a long time, and he had his idea, and I was like, well, what if we as like a room in that idea to do this? And I was explaining to them like the same situation, like we're so quick, we call ourselves storytellers, but we're so quick to run to the camera. Oh, got a story, so pick up, I can't wait to get my camera, and it's like, whoa. Do you realize the skill set you use to tell stories, whether it's coming up with the concept, writing it out, writing the script, writing the story, helping to tell stories, or whether if you work with B2B businesses, helping companies, go into a company and help them learn to tell their story better. You can do that without running to the camera. Like there's a whole world out there where people get hired just to help people learn to tell their story better, and then they leave.
Right.
Because the thing is, like, you tell a great story and you put it on video, it's great. But the most impactful way to ever tell a story is mouth to mouth, face to face. So if you can, like, for a nonprofit or an advocacy organization, we can easily go in and do like 5 videos for you and charge you X, Y, Z. But if we came into your nonprofit or organization and we really helped you define your story, tell it in the most amazing way possible, and then instead of running to the camera, we come in once a month and we work with your accounting department, we work with your sales team, we work with your grant writers, and we help them learn to take that story we just used to tell your story better, and we help them apply that to what they do daily.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is that's going to be way more effective for a company to reach their goals than creating a video for them.
Yeah.
Because everywhere all those people go, they got 20 employees. Everywhere they go, what they're going to do, they're going to tell the company story face to face. They're going to pull more supporters, more donations, more people who want to contribute to the organization because it's passion to passion. Video, no. So the video will work, but if you can teach people how to tell their story, like we create their story and say we're going to film it. How about we create their story, empower everybody in their organization to use that story in the way they do their daily life, and then give them a video to do what they want to do with it as well.
Yep, and you were not the cameraman, you were the consultant who advised them to do so.
You just use what you do every day. You tell stories.
Right, and I had multiple situations, and I don't want to use the word burn. I just want to use the word where I didn't secure myself. Right, so I created this, which I thought was it's a regular little schmegular video for this young lady who had a product, and it went super duper viral. She was on the news. It was shared by Timberland. It was everywhere. And before I sent the video, I was like, I should tack on my logo and my my social media following, right? And I sent her the review copy. I guess I must have did a great job. She used the review copy. Never came back to me like, because you send a review copy and then you need edits. They loved it right away, but I said it went super viral, right? And I came up with the concept on the fly, and I got zero love for it.
But it doesn't matter. The love doesn't matter. You just take that same thing and go do it for somebody else.
See, that's why you're here.
Like, you know
what I'm saying? That's why you're here.
The whole, I think we get to the point where sometimes there's like a saying, and I'm going to mess it up, but sometimes we do things and we wait for the applause before we take our next step. What are we waiting for applauses for? Seriously, nobody, your dream and your destination, you're going to get there regardless of whether anybody else supports you or not, because you want to get there, right? You're going to get there. So when you take your step, it's your dream, it's in your heart, you're going. I don't care if anybody ever applauds. Because you got more out of that. You got more out of that, right?
No, I mean sometimes I'm glad that you said, because I have a flip. I'll do it, and that old expression, would you do this if you didn't get any love? Because you yourself personally love it, and I myself personally love it. But there's a defining line where if you can't love it so much,
you can't stay married to it.
Yeah, you can't stay so married to it that it doesn't benefit you in a way that is going back into the chef who just cooks till they die, So, yes, I love it and I don't need the applause for it. And I'm in my spirit, as the way that I am, my personality type is, I'm perfect behind the camera because I don't necessarily have to be on camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, it doesn't matter. But if I'm taking honest stock of my life where I'm at now, if I would have made different choices beyond the love, yes, love it, because the loving is what gives you the craftsmanship, the skills, the attention to detail.
Yeah.
But you got to pause and stop and handle business and say, okay, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna tell you about this off camera, but it's just when you trust people to know the business of what it is you're providing, right? And you don't stamp it out immediately, because sometimes we think if I stamp out my business immediately, then that's going to lead to friction or rejection.
Yeah.
Or, but I've learned that if you just tell them what it is, then you've defined a standard up front, and now it's a yay or a nay. And I'm right now with this space that I'm in, I'm okay with nays.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Not everybody's your customer. Not everybody's your client.
Yep.
You know, and if like my philosophy is work with, like, you know, when it comes to businesses or anything, it's like it's simple. It's really find people who believe in the same things as you, and business becomes easy.
Personal. So we got like 5 minutes left? 4. So in this last 4 minutes that we have, right? Beyond the work that you do, what do you do to take care of yourself? Because I thank Darwin for reminding me, but I struggle with that self-care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what do you do to take care of yourself outside of, you know, always looking for the next job or working on the job or things that just get you recentered? What do you do for yourself?
I mean, first thing, I just stay surrounded with good people. I can't have bad energy around me at all.
That's why Darwin's sitting right here.
And then I mean, this sounds dumb, but sleep. Like I won't. Like if I'm left to my own devices, I won't sleep. I won't sleep. So I mean, I have a watch. It reminds me to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. I'll set it, and I don't always stop and sleep when it says to. Mm-hmm. But every night this thing goes off at a certain time, and I'm like, it says basically get ready for bed. And that sounds stupid, like it's like my mom or my dad saying get ready for bed, Tyrone. But at the end of the day, it makes me think, do I have anything, all the stuff I still want to keep working on, is it anything that can wait till tomorrow? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to sleep. The old me, I used to tuck my kids into bed, go downstairs and work, and they come down like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. I'm like, what are you doing up? Aren't you supposed to be in bed? They're like, Dad, it's the morning. I'd tuck them in at 9 o'clock, and they wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was typically still down there editing, working on something, playing the cameras.
I used to be able to burn the midnight oil like that. I can't do it. Personally, I can't do it now. Because you're in a Zen mode. It's like work. I mean, it's like love, so it don't even feel like work. And then the time is flying by, and then you're creating something, and it's looking and feeling amazing. So you're not even thinking about like sleep. You know what I mean?
It's not good for your body.
No, it's not. But I can't do it anymore. I used to be able to do it at the expense of myself for the client. That's the stuff they don't know about.
I put myself in the hospital doing that, dude.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. So I want to close out with your advice for the new person. What's your advice for the new person starting out who needs, like, that's why I'm doing this, to be honest. I want people to not go through some of the, I'm going to say the shit that I've gone through. You know what I mean? So what's your advice to the person?
Person that wants to do what?
Live this life, have a life beyond the lens.
I mean, I think I asked these two guys earlier. I was like, do you love the business side or the art side? And if you want to do it for a living, there better be a business side to it, because let's just be honest. Baltimore is a good market to be in for video production, but there's bigger markets to be in where, as a DP or AC, there's just more work. If you're in like Charleston, Atlanta, there's major films being shot there every single day. You can get on and make a good amount of money. But in Baltimore, it's not. They don't have a lot of major projects being shot, so it's like, I see, all the hustle that comes in. Everybody, I feel like Baltimore's that city that has a lot of hustle to it. And it says you take that hustle and you put it behind a business idea or a camera, and you just say, you know what, I will not be outworked. So you figure out, you figure out how to get in the rooms you need to get in, the doors you need to learn, whatever you need to learn. So if it's the business side, find somebody who's good at the business side. If it's the DP side, get on the call sheet. Figure out whatever you can do to get on a call sheet for a project and keep showing up as the PA. I PA'd for years. I
Tell people a PA. What's a PA mean for people?
Production assistant. Usually they're the person that feel like, I don't want to do the PA. They're gonna have me. Look, man, like I learned how to light.
So
I was gonna say too. Like I remember when we started, he's and just to piggyback off what you were saying. He actually he was doing it solo, so he was learning the business side of things first. Mm-hmm. me, I was working with crews, so I was always with a team, and he took off in a different direction than I did.
Because he understands the
He
business.
understood the business.
So with that being said, that's why I want to add another 5 minutes to this, because behind your back, me and my cohort right here, we always say, would Tyrone do that?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Say,
Don't
yo,
do that.
Tyrone would not do that.
Don't do that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Don't
yo,
listen to me, man.
Yeah, I swear to God, we
Don't
like, yo,
listen to me.
Tyrone would not be going for that with the client, man. Would you do it, bro? So I just want to let you know, man, you're making a real positive impact, and I think the other day I talked to you, you said you don't think you're successful, but in my eyes, I definitely believe you're successful.
No, absolutely not.
Well, you have a level of success that's still admirable for a person who needs to even get to your station.
I wouldn't even use that word.
What's the word you would use?
Progress. I've had a certain level of progress.
So I'm glad he said that. So focus on your level of progress, because sitting in this chair, as much as I've done, I still seek progress. I definitely seek progress. And there's so much to learn in this business beyond camera. Like I was thinking the day before you came in, like going to, the local camera shop around here is called Service Photo. And going to Service Photo and having the guys talk to me and feeling dumb. You know what I mean? That was like, I used to be like, so what does 1.4 mean? And what is this? And they was looking at me like, why are you giving us $1,000? I was giving people money, not even knowing what stuff meant.
Yeah.
Because I was just like,
YouTube said you needed it, so you got it.
Yeah, somebody on YouTube said, 1.4 is the thing to have.
Got it.
I was like,
always shoot at 1.4. Never shoot at
oh my God.
So really,
like,
everything's always supposed to be blown out?
Yeah, truth be told, I was a sucker for 1.4.
Dude.
I used to be like, if it ain't 1.4, it ain't nothing. You know what I mean?
YouTube videos costing me so much money because I was buying stuff, get it, like, this don't work.
Yeah.
Take it, sell it, lose money, buy something else. And I was like, and honestly, that's where I feel like getting on the call sheet and getting on projects helps you before you start spending money, because you start to see stuff being used and how they use it. And then you can start to ask questions about, like, what's that light? How do you use that light? Oh, I get it. So you can start, when you build your first kit, like, say you want to create something, you're building your first kit. Because I think the first kit's probably the most, like, not even building the first kit, knowing how to piece the kit together. Because if you can piece the kit together, you can rent that kit. But you got to know, okay, in order to create this look and that movement, what do I need? And the only way you really learn that is on set or experiment. You could, go out and shoot a bunch of stuff with you and your friends and just shoot, but then take it back to the computer and analyze it. I'm like, oh, we could have done that better. We could have done that better. We could have done that better. And then you just...
I do that. I'm over a decade. I don't care what it is I do. I still look at everything I do, footage, pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what could I have done better?
I look at stuff I don't even edit.
Right. Like, I try to remind myself in the moment, like, especially like when it's not a controlled shoot, like a film or documentary, and it's just something flowing in the moment, and you just got to stop and remind yourself, I got to adjust because the window's right in front of me, or, it's like the lighting change. I went from outside to inside lighting, and it's just stuff you in like moment, I got to get it, and then you don't stop and adjust. And the client don't know it, but you know it. And it drives me nuts sometimes. Like, oh my God, if I would have made that one stop and then one adjustment, I don't want to use the word, but it would be perfect. So.
And I get that. And the technical stuff, what helps me on set, like, there's a lot of stuff I still don't know, and I'm learning. But what I find is easier to communicate is like how you want something to feel. So and I look at if something don't feel right, then I'm trying to figure out how to make it feel right. But and it always comes back to something on a set. It's something technical. It's the lighting. It's the camera angle. It's the lens. It's is there a smoke machine adding something to the room? Is it the window? How do we make? Or do we want that window to blow out? Do we not want it? It's like these looks, and it's all about how it feels. So a lot of times when I'm on set working with people and I'm DPing it, and I'm like, what do you like? I'm working with the gaffer. And I'm like, they always say, like, how you say how you feel a lot. So it's like, man, I feel like this feels kind of warmer. This feels, the mood that I'm going for. I'm like, can we add a little bit more,
Right.
And there's a gaffer, a funny guy. I love this guy. He's down in Virginia Beach. I know he's in Richmond, and he has his own terminology for stuff. So I'm like, I feel when he always refers to light as poop.
poop.
It's weird, but it can't. He's like, so we got to. How much more poop do you want me to squeeze out of that light? He says it all the time, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? But honestly, I love working with him because we built a way to communicate with each other in a way where, I can explain what the feel I want, and if something doesn't feel right, I can be like, something just doesn't feel right, and the first thing he'll do is pull his light meter out and be like, are you at this temp?
Yeah, that's it.
Or and I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, yeah, I mean, I felt this was good, but he's like, go here, tell me how it feels, and I'll look at it. Like, that feels better.
And so, and I'm glad you brought. I'm gonna close it out with this, but feeling and intuition and trusting your instincts, right? How important that is, and that's why you asked me off camera, do I prefer to shoot or edit? And I'll tell you that I like both, and I have a better answer on camera than I did off camera, is because the reason I like to do both is because I have control issues.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something in my world that gives me autonomy, where the outcome is based upon the choices that I make.
Yeah.
So when you might shoot something slightly imperfectly, and it might be something as you kick the tripod a millisecond, but the client may never pay attention to that. But for me, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because you editing it, I could cover that up with some B-roll. Nobody would know nothing. You know what I mean? And you get to master it. You get to take that chunk of wood and chisel it into the thing that you want. You know what I mean? So it's like the raw wood is the filming, and then the editing for me is the chiseling. You know what I mean? That's why I would say I like both, because I get to take something and shape it into something that I fall in love with.
I shoot it, I put it on a hard drive, I create a hard drive for me, and I review the footage. The footage is me doing research on how to shoot better.
Right. So you like to give them wood.
Honestly, I shoot everything, and I go to on the road, I go to the hotel room, and everybody's going out to dinner, and I'm like, I gotta go back, and I back up all the footage, and I just look through everything I shot that day. What I like, what didn't I like, okay, got it. I don't even have to do that. I technically
That's why I like, sometimes somebody asks for raw footage, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Oh, you want what? We did a documentary over the weekend, and it was just like shooting dump. It felt good because sometimes it do feel good not to be tied to something that's going to require so much personal love, and it's about his family legacy. And I'm like, I don't want to be the person making that decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we try to be as perfect as we could with what we shot.
I mean, my mentor, that's what he says all the time. When we first started shooting, we'd be on a project and we'd shoot something, or we get ready, we have it set up, or I do a movement or whatever. He's like, how do you like it? I'm like, it's cool, it's good. He's like, is it good? Great. I'm like, it's good. And he's like, if I gave you 5 more minutes, could you make it perfect? That became our thing. So like you mentioned kicking the tripod. If I told him to kick the tripod, he'd be like, Ty, like, we're gonna reshoot that. Like the guy on set. Like there's certain things we know we can fix in post.
Right.
Like we'll get that in post. We're not even gonna be on camera for that part anyway, right?
Right.
And then there's the part where you're like, it's production value. Like where can I? And that's where like buying equipment it really is a slippery slope, right? Because it's like when I spend money on XYZ, what's gonna give me the greatest production value? What's gonna actually translate to what you see on the camera? There's certain things there's certain things people will never know. Like people genuinely like lenses. The average client has no clue what kind of lens. If you shoot on a $10,000 lens or a $50 lens, the average client doesn't care.
All they do is that's my face on camera.
The catch is with that is, and I started I kind of like do things in my head to push myself harder. I was like, you know what? And for like years I was like, if the client doesn't know what I'm using, then it doesn't matter. And then I got to the part I was like, you know what though? In order to get to the next level, I have to work with the people who do care. I got to work with the person who's not going to let me show up on set unless I have a certain type of lens, a certain type of camera, can do a certain type of look. Because when I found working with people who did know the difference, the projects got better. They were bigger projects. The work, like that learning curve was going like, yeah, I'm learning too.
Bam.
It went up because you were forced into a world where everything counted, and if you were going to DP, you had to be able to not only answer questions, lead a crew, and make decisions based on things that you should know. And now I remember the first time I was DP and I was scared. I was like, I'm a DP, whatever that word is people throw around, right? But the first time I got a time to actually be on set and have that title, I was like, man, I finally got it. And then I got on set and they were asking me all types of questions. I was like, I don't even know the answer to none of this. And this guy was like, a gaffer was like, slow down, you're good. He's like, until you've been in this spot, you didn't go to school for this, you're not really gonna know. He was like, and he kind of like schooled me to the game, gave me like real solid tips. The first tip was like, if you're leading the crew, your job, like nobody else can start working until you pick the shot.
Dope.
So like everybody's sitting around wasting budget dollars because they're sitting around like and showing up to show up to set with your camera built. I'd always be like, I got a nice camera, it's in a Pelican case, I'm gonna protect it. And I'd show up to set at the call time is at 7:30. I show up at 7:30. Everybody else is like, okay, let's pick the shot, and I'm like, put the bass on, put my matte box on, put my ND, and everybody's like,
Waiting for you to do your
what are you
thing.
doing? And I was like, and he was like, first of all, don't ever show up with your camera not put together again. Like, you can't do that. Like, we can't do anything. And then he just kind of went down a whole list of things. He was like, do your research, look online, find the looks you want, send me the looks you want before I get here. Like, it was a bunch of things information he gave me on how to be an actual DP and a filmmaker in that filmmaking world, because I decided I had a camera, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do cool stuff. And when you're working by yourself, it works great that way. Because you're only waiting on yourself. But when you're in a world where the client's there and the client wants a director's monitor, and everything you aim that camera at, they're looking at, and they're going to make decisions, and they're going to either gain confidence in you quickly or lose confidence in you quickly. And if they lose confidence in you quickly, they will take control of the shot. There'll be a hand on your shoulder, basically telling that camera where to aim the entire day.
That sucks.
So the whole thing is getting in there, understanding how you want it lit, talking to the crew, talking to the client. I feel like that's the part that I feel like I love the most, because it's the relationships, and it pushes me. Every shoot's like test day. Every shoot's like a test day. Ty, did I get better from the last shoot? Every single shoot. So if somebody came back with a video from 5 years ago, like, Ty's video, I'm like, that video's trash. Every time somebody says, hey, there's a video, I'm like, don't even.
Don't even show it to me. I don't look at my old stuff. I look at stuff I did 2 weeks ago.
It's trash. It's trash. I could have done it better.
Yep, could have done it better. Yep. So, man, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And we got B hats, and I'm glad he wore a B hat, because you got to be bigger, better budget, be on time, be about your business.
I'm with that, man. I'm with that. I'm with all those things.
And be black. No, but thank you.
Yeah,
thank
man.
you so much, man.
Yeah, nah, it's cool,
Appreciate
man.
you.
Yeah.
Tyrone Eaton
Yeah.
of the Eaton Creative Group.
I don't know, just Tyrone Eaton. Dumbest thing I ever did was create a business.
Well, Tyrone, the man. We love him. We're fans.
All right.
Thank you so much.